Wow. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is wAFF, and this is my review of Dune. I have just got back from the cinema right now. I just went to go to see Dune with two of my friends at the IMAX, and we had to go to an earlier showing because the late night shows are completely sold out in London anyway. Couldn't find a late night show, so woke up, went straight to the IMAX pretty much within about an hour of being awake, sat in this room, and I genuinely think I had the best experience I've ever had in a cinema. Full stop. I have been so looking forward to this film ever since it got announced that Dune was going to get a remake by Denis Villeneuve. I was just already sold at that point because Denis Villeneuve is by far one of the best directors around at the moment. I've got to say he probably is up there with my favorite directors, with Christopher Nolan. And yeah, just knowing that he was going to remake this amazing story and an amazing book that I've never read the book. I've never known anything about Dune before going into this. I kind of stayed purposely away from anything I could be spoiled on because I know there's a lot of things about Dune. There's even Jodorowsky's Dune documentary, and I've been told to watch that, and that's supposed to be amazing and incredible. Which I'm going to go back and I'm going to go and watch that now. I've seen this film. And then I know that there's the original Dune movie, which I don't know what year that came out in. I think it was like the 70s or 80s or something. I don't know. It's a long time ago anyway. And I stayed away from watching that because I didn't want to know anything. I just wanted to go into this completely blind and not have a clue what the story was about or anything about it. All I knew was that it was set in this futuristic sort of dystopian world with giant sandworms, and that's all I knew. So going into this film, I was just really looking forward to understanding what the film was about, and I really wanted to immerse myself in this story and the lore because I did hear from many people that this is a very complex story. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of lore and a lot of politics, and you have to learn a lot of things in this story of the background, of the history of it, and no idea what that beep was. Anyway, so there's so much to the background and the history of the lore of Dune and the story and all these characters that some people find it difficult watching this film, supposedly, because of how much there is to it and how much you've kind of got to understand going through this movie. I've got to say, personally, I felt like I understood it all the way through. I was really invested the whole time. The second that this movie started, I knew that I was going to love it. I knew I was going to love this film because, well, let's put it this way. The very beginning, and also this is a non-spoiler review, right? I will do a spoiler one, probably, after this. We'll see how long this goes on for. But at the very start of the film, before they even show you that it's by Warner Brothers or Legendary or whatever, there's like some weird language comes up and there's some sort of writing that says something about a dream. I don't remember exactly what it is. But there's this weird, crazy, like futuristic mental voice that comes up. It's like it's like some sort of like didgeridoo, tribalistic, futuristic alien voice, and I just knew straight away at that point, even though there's nothing going on, it's just a black screen and just this sound and some subtitles saying something. I knew that it was going to be sick just from that moment, and that's all. Straight away I was like, okay, I'm ready for this. This film is very similar to many things. There's so many elements of many different types of films in this, but I will say this, there's a huge part of what felt like Game of Thrones for me, just of how like there's all the different houses and all the different politics behind the houses, and there's like there's an emperor and there's all these different levels and there's like thrones and all these different things going on in the world that has similarities to Game of Thrones, and just how Game of Thrones has this serious tone and it really puts you in the world of it, and you get to learn a lot about these characters and the background story and the lore of the world. It kind of felt similar to Game of Thrones in that way. So for me personally, I enjoy that sort of thing. Like I actually really do enjoy just if it's done well and they've got these solid characters and the world building is so good and the lore is so detailed and rich, then for me, I can just sit there and I can just enjoy that for what it is. I don't really need anything else other than that. And this film, straight away from the beginning, as soon as it started, I was already invested just by nothing going on. Just being in awe of how big everything is. This film is just so epic on scale. Like, some of these shots are incredible. The cinematography and the directing in this, the sound, the music. I'm going to go into every bit of this, but like every part of this is just incredible. And the actors, they've got such an amazing ensemble of cast of actors, and I was blown away the whole way through watching this. I was never bored once. I was never ever bored once. And I could have genuinely just sat for the whole 3 hours, which is pretty much nearly 3 hour long film. I think it's like 2 hours and 40. Anyway, I could have sat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, even 4 or 5 hours. I genuinely could have sat there for about 5 hours just with the first part of this film, which is kind of just getting you to understand the lore and just the world that we're in, the characters and why things are happening and what's happened to the world and what happened in the past to these different planets and different types of races of species that are on the planets. And I could have just sat with that for the whole way through because I was just so invested. So for me personally, I wasn't bored. I never found it boring. Now, I have heard people say that it is boring. I've watched people review this saying that they were just bored. Not that it was a bad film, but they just were bored. They wasn't entertained, really. I mean, it was good to look at, but it wasn't what they wanted. And that's fair to say because it's slow at times, but it's done in such a good way that it never felt like the pacing was bad to me. It never felt like it was slow. I was never ever bored. And just the spectacle of this film, just to look at it and just to go, wow, like this shot, like every single shot is like a massive artistic piece. It's just incredible. And yeah, there's so much I could say about just how much I enjoyed the slowness of it. I enjoyed being sat there just watching these people talk with nothing else going on and just going, wow, sick. This world's amazing. There's so much to it. Like, cool, keep me here. I want to hear more. So yeah, as I was saying, it's kind of like Game of Thrones in space. And it's also like, there's many different things. There's like one of my friends has said, it's kind of like they have like moments kind of like Hellraiser, which I can definitely agree to. Some in a certain ways. There's some really messed up darkness. There's a darkness to this world, and it is really messed up. There's some really tense moments. There's a moment where Timothy Chalamet's character, who's named Paul, has got his hand in a box. Now, that's all I'm gonna say. But like this, I was like, okay, shit. There's a darkness to this, and there's a voice. Without spoiling anything, but there is certain people in this film that have abilities to use a thing called the voice. And I won't say anything else on that other than just I felt like that was a really powerful thing. Like this film, Denis Villeneuve kind of really makes you feel how powerful these powers are, these abilities, and just what these people and what all the different types of people can do, and that just like it's an alien world, and there's like almost like magic behind it, and not magic as in such, but they have abilities, certain people, and you can kind of feel the presence of these abilities and just how powerful some of these characters are, and just really just how dark the world can be, and it is in moments. And I feel like that really comes through, and I really liked that. I really liked how I felt like, whoa, that ability that I've just seen or heard is, you can tell that that's really powerful, and I really like that. It comes through really, really well. So yeah, I really do enjoy that. Now, this movie tells the story of Paul Atreides, who is played, like I said, by Timothy Chalamet, and the film is about him and his house, Atreides, getting sent to a planet named Arrakis, which is where these giant worms live, as well as many other things. But they get sent to a planet called Arrakis, where they are entrusted to take care of one of the most, well, it is the most important element in the whole universe, which is called spice. And of course, being given this responsibility over something that is so important, which is the most important thing in the universe, then, you know, that comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of danger. And that's kind of all I want to say on this story, because any more than that will just spoil stuff. But that kind of was something I never knew about, and I really did like that. I like the whole idea of spice and what it is and what it does, and why these different races want this element. Why do they want spice? What does it do? And just not knowing anything about it and going straight into this film blind and just learning about this was like really interesting. And I would say to anybody who is watching this, go and watch this film and don't read anything about it other than just what I'm saying. And just go and watch this film, and because you will be really, really pleased with all the information that you get told. It's just all interesting. And I found that just what the story leads to, and obviously this is a part one. There's obviously more, but this film created such a great start to the story that I just can't wait to see what happens next and just what happens to these characters and these races, because there is so much that happens in this film. There is so much shit that goes down in this film that I don't know how people can say that it's boring. Like, there's just so many things that happen in this movie that are like, this is going nuts. Like, this is booting off. Like, there is shit going on. There's so much going on that, like, this film's epic. Like, what are people on about? All the casting is sick. Like, it's the first time I ever seen Timothée Chalamet, and I thought he was wicked. Josh Brolin's in this, Oscar Isaac, Jason Momoa, Dave Bautista, Rebecca Ferguson. God, there's so many more. What's his name? Javier Bardem. I think that's how you say his name. He's always good in everything I've seen him in. I forget the rest of the names, but it's just the whole cast, the whole ensemble of cast is just really, really solid casting. I thought it was incredible. I just feel like the seriousness, like the tone that they all take, really, really works very well for this film. I was just impressed by everybody's performance. So yeah, that's just another thing that makes this incredible. If you have a really good cast, that definitely helps lead a film. Never mind when it's as good as this is. The special effects, by the way, are absolutely insane. Like, these are some of the best special effects I have ever seen. Everything looks like it's really there. Like, every single thing you see, because there's a lot of CGI in this film. It's so epic. Like, something that I thought was really well done was they do a lot of shots where you get to see like these massive ships, spaceships, or whatever it is that you see. And they do a lot of shots where you can see the people, the actual humans or whatever type of people it is, next to these spaceships or whatever. And they do these huge grand shots from a far distance, and it allows you to see the scale of how big these spaceships are or whatever it is that you're looking at, because you can see how tiny the people are. And just the special effects are incredible. Like, there's even a shot of this little creature, like a mouse, that's in the desert. And I was like, hang on a minute, is that actually a real animal in this planet? So if they like shot a real animal, I was like, no, that's CGI, but you can't tell that it's CGI because it looks so good. But everything looks so good, every single thing, and just the scale of it, the sounds that have been created for this film, for the spaceships and whatever's going on, just these huge, deep beaming horns that just are so loud and deep. This sound just goes perfectly with this film, and just all these different spaceships and how just the noises of them are just so well made. Like, the sound effects are incredible, the special effects are incredible. And then that leads me to the score. Hans Zimmer is back again with an unbelievable score. Like, I think that this is an amazing score of his. It isn't his best. I have seen people complain about it, saying that it's his worst score, but it isn't, because there's nothing bad with it. There's nothing wrong with this score at all. It's incredible. Like, it's amazing. There's certain sounds that he's made in this score that I'm like, that just sounds perfect for this world. There's like a weird rattling drum roll snare. Ring ding 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 ding. Yeah, well, something like that anyway. There's so much to the score. The score is just constant. You know, like how in Christopher Nolan's Batman, and actually in most of his films, but I know in remember The Dark Knight, that there's just a constant rolling, like, sort of presence of the soundtrack just going all the way through it. The score is just constantly there. It keeps the intensity, and it keeps building and just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's just constantly there. It's like that through Dune. Dune just always has some sort of heartbeat of some music, some score running through it, and I personally thought it is incredible. There's some epic scenes that we get to see in this film. There is a moment where people are laid upside down with no clothes on these things, and something's happening, which I won't spoil, but there was some moments where I'm like, whoa, this is like dark as fuck, and like, I don't know, I can see what's going on, but I just like how it kind of just shows you this world, and it doesn't really need to explain too much. It's just like, this is what's going on, and you can just feel just the world is really messed up, and these different races are really, really messed up. And I think they did an amazing job to kind of portray that. This film is only a 12A, so it's not gory really. You don't see any gore. It's violent in certain ways, There's definitely violence, and there's a lot of action, and there's a lot of darkness to it, but it's done in a way that, you know, it's not graphic. Really, you don't see too much, but I would have liked to have I would have liked it if it was a little bit of a higher age rating, because I would have liked to see a bit more gore, really. If you really, really wanted to, and you went into the darkness even further, and this film was like an 18 or something, then you could really have some messed up shit, because some of these characters are really, really messed up, and they're dark people. You can tell that they're so brutal that they could be doing a lot worse things than what we see, but that didn't bother me. I was happy with what I got, but it's just something that, you know, if they really wanted to, they could really go flushed out on these dark characters, and I would have liked to seen that, but I don't really care, to be honest. I'm happy with what I got. So with all this being said, at the end of this whole film, for me, I left the cinema completely amazed. I was wowed from the beginning. I never got bored once. I found it so interesting. I was very, very immersed. There was moments where I forgot I was in the cinema, and I'd be like, oh yeah, shit, I'm actually in the cinema. I was so invested. I feel like they told the story so well. I feel like I learned everything I needed to. I didn't struggle with any of it. The cinematography, the directing, the score, the visual effects, the acting, the cast, the world building, the lore, every single thing about this for me was like the best. So for me, I have to say this film is a 10 out of 10. I was completely amazed from start to finish. There isn't anything about this that I can even say was bad, so I cannot give it less than a 10. This is going to be up there with in my top 5 films I think I've ever seen. It has to be, because I don't remember. Like I said, this is probably the best cinematic experience I've ever had. And I've seen some amazing films in the cinema, and there's some incredible films that are still high up there with my favorite experiences I've ever had, and up there with my favorite films. But Dune really just sets a bar of quality, and I just feel like there's nothing wrong with it. So for me, it's just a 10 out of 10. Guys, I honestly tell you, if you want to go and watch an incredible film and be immersed and blown away, then go and watch Dune, but try and go to see it within the next few days, because on the 4th of November in the UK anyway, it ends in IMAX, so you're not going to have the chance to see it in IMAX again. It's still going to be in the cinemas for a while, so you still got time, but just try and go and see it in an IMAX. Honestly, if you have to go early in the day, go and do it. I did it, and it was like, I came out of there completely blown away and amazed by it, and yeah, everybody has to see this film. That's it from me, guys. Maybe I'll do a spoiler talk one, but not sure. This is pretty much long enough as it is. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did enjoy this review, then please hit the like button. That'd be amazing for me. Let me know down below what you guys thought. Please don't spoil anything. I don't want anything spoiled for anybody, but just tell me, did you enjoy this film? Are you looking forward to it? Didn't you enjoy it? Don't tell me why you didn't. Just tell me if you did, because I don't want anybody to know anything. Yeah, I'd love to know what your thoughts are down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll be seeing you next time on wAFF World.